Hey everybody, this is TotalGamerJunkie. I want to welcome you all back to my channel. So in this video, I want to talk about how a possible Max and Chloe sequel could not only help the series, but also hinder it in a way. Now, I want to make it clear, I'm not against the Max and Chloe sequel. In fact, I'm one of the people who probably want it the most, because, let's face it, Max and Chloe, they are the heart and soul of Life is Strange. And this is I'm not trying to put shit on Daniel and Sean or anything, but when you talk about, when you mention the name Life is Strange, people who know the game series, the first thing that's gonna come to their mind is Max or Chloe, this someone, or Rachel Amber, this someone from the first ever game, you know? Even though Rachel wasn't in the first game, she was in the prequel, but she was mentioned a lot. It was her missing that drove the story forward. You got to find out what happened to her in the dark room and everything. Now, one of the things that is a bit kind of raises a red flag to me is, if you remember that last video I made before, where I covered the possible Life is Strange 3 leak, and it mentioned how there was a Life is Strange game that with Max and Chloe that was cancelled. Now, the problem with it is, if they do decide to make a Max and Chloe game, I guess I'm worried that one of the endings will be canonized, because this is a problem, because at the end you get two endings: Sacrifice Arcadia Bay versus Sacrifice Chloe. Now, obviously, we know what happens, but if they do decide to make a game with Max and Chloe, then they'll need to canonize the Sacrifice Arcadia Bay ending, which in turn will make the choice for Life is Strange 2, where it goes, did you choose to sacrifice Chloe or sacrifice Arcadia Bay? That'll make that choice at the beginning null and void, which I guess in a way it's it doesn't really have a drastic effect, except whether or not in episode 1 you're with Brody and you see Arcadia Bay, fine, or if you see it destroyed and there's a memorial. And it also affects episode 5, where when you're talking to David, he talks about, when he's on the phone, he's talking to Chloe if she's alive, and then he's talking to Joyce if Chloe died when he chose to sacrifice her. So that's I wouldn't say that's the biggest issue, but I gotta say, because Deck 9 now has the rights to Life is Strange, so if they do this, then they'll have to just remove the choice to sacrifice Chloe, as well as remove bits of dialogue and scenes from that choice in Life is Strange 2. Now, there is a way that they could possibly fix this, and I want to talk about Telltale real quick, which is a part of this video. This is how I think it could work. So, one of my favorite episodes in the Telltale game is Batman Telltale Season 2, Episode 5. And the reason it's my favorite is because of how unique it is. Now, the Joker, well, he's not the Joker in Season 1, he's just John Doe, a guy you meet at the mental asylum. And then in Season 2, he plays a more prominent role in the series. Now, in Episode 4, your choices determine whether or not he becomes a villain or a vigilante. And so when you play Episode 5, you get two completely different variants. It's almost as if you're playing a bonus episode or something. And it really is, for me, that was, that game, Season 2, is really worth the replayability because of the different choices and outcomes you can make. And the episodes, they do end the same way, but a vast majority of it, I'd have to say at least 80%, 70 to 80% of the episodes where Joker is a villain and a hero is completely different. And so I think if Deck 9 seriously wants to get fans back with the Life is Strange series, I think what they should do is follow that similar plot. What we could have is, we get the choice to import our save data from Life is Strange 1, and we can import the save data where we sacrificed Arcadia Bay versus sacrificing Chloe. Now, obviously, this could not possibly work on a large scale, but imagine the possibilities it could open if this was the case. Imagine with Life is Strange 2, we could continue off one of the 5 endings. Well, 4 endings, but you know, 7. But with the variance, it equals technically 7. But technically, a double technically standard, it's 4 endings. But it could open so many possibilities, like, because if you take a look at games like Mass Effect 3, for example, that was the ending was very controversial, and the extended cut helped a little, but it didn't fix all the issues. And they're releasing a new Mass Effect game, and it's going to be set in the Milky Way galaxy. And I don't know if any of you have seen the trailer, but we got to see the Asari Liartisoni, who's one of the romance options in the Mass Effect trilogy series, and she played a big role in the Mass Effect trilogy. And in the trailer we see her on an icy planet, and there's a dead Reaper, which means that the Destroy ending is canon. So like, this is what BioWare could do. Like, if they really wanted to get on fans' good sides for Mass Effect 3, what they should do is let you choose which of the 3 endings you get. Now, there's a secret ending where you lose the war to the Reapers, but that's obviously not going to be canon. But I think that if Mass Effect 3 is able to do that, like somehow canonize, let you choose one of the 3 endings, like obviously that's going to be much more difficult to do. But if Deck 9 is able to accomplish this, I think it'll be really great for the series, because I, for one, am very interested to know what happened to Max if she chooses to sacrifice Chloe rather than Arcadia Bay. Because if you go online, when you look up fanfics, it's always stuff about Max and Chloe. And if you look up the endings, you can see stuff. Okay, what happens after Arcadia Bay got destroyed? It's really hard to find fanfics that show what happens if Max sacrificed Chloe to save Arcadia Bay. And even if you do, it's all about, some of them about getting her powers, rewinding time and fixing everything. It's I don't know, like, not that there's anything wrong with those fanfics, but I do think that Deck 9 needs to do this. Or another option could be to make 2 standalone games, and you have one game, 5 episodes, where Max chose to sacrifice Chloe to save Arcadia Bay, and then one where she sacrificed Arcadia Bay to save Chloe. Because this next game is from the leaks, it's obviously not going to be Max and Chloe, but you know, it's like they can do what they want. They have the ability, because Square Enix gave them the license. They're the publishers now. I mean, they're the developers now, not the publishers. So I'm sorry about my rambling here. And I gotta be honest, like, I really think Deck 9 should make a comic series, because like, and I'm not trying to put shit on the comic series that I've been reading on my channel, like, because they're basically, there are bits of it that are good. Like, I like the comic, I like reading it. It's nice to get some Life is Strange material with Max and Chloe, but I can understand how a lot of you are pissed that Emma is just stringing us along, no pun intended for that arc name, which is strings, in case you don't know what I'm talking about. But because I swear, like, at some point we have to see Max and Chloe get reunited, and it has to be in the next arc. Otherwise, because this series started in 2018, it's been 3 years, and we still haven't got Pricefield back. We got a little bit of it in episode 4 when Max and Chloe kiss, but other than that, no. So I think Deck 9 it'd be cool to see if Deck 9 actually made a comic series of Max and Chloe, what happened after they got out of Arcadia Bay, or what happens to Max after Chloe dies, you know? I doubt that. I highly doubt that's not going to happen. It's more unlikely than the sacrifice Chloe or sacrifice Arcadia Bay importing system, but you know, I can dream. Now, another thing I think that could really hurt the game is if Deck 9 decides to get new actors to voice Max and Chloe, which, like, honestly, I'm the voice actor for Chloe in Before the Storm. I liked her voice. It was alright. So if you can't get Ashley Birch as Chloe, then use that actor, the one that does the motion capture for Chloe, because she has an alright voice. And as for Hannah Tell, like, Like, I don't know, like, I want both of them to be back, because I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm not gonna buy the game, but I just feel, because before the storm, there was that workers' strike, a lot of characters' voices were different, or changed, like, but, like, to be honest, I didn't even notice that Victoria had a different voice actor. I did not notice that, because to me, she sounds exactly the same. So, if you can get a voice actor that sounds very similar or can mimic another person's voice, then do that. Like, because if Deck 9 can't get Ashley Birch and Hannah Telly, however you say her last name, then get voice actors who can mimic their voices to do it, which it does sound shitty, but, you know, like only as a last resort, because I definitely want Ashley Birch and Hannah Telly, I'm just gonna say Telly, I definitely want them to reprise their roles as Max and Chloe. So anyways, that's, like, really all the main issues I have. Like, I guess another one could be lazy writing, and I guess that one is determined on whether or not you liked Life is Strange Before the Storm. Now, there were some videos I did make a while ago about major and minor inconsistencies, so I guess it's really up to you to determine whether or not those inconsistencies actually affected your overall likeness of Before the Storm. And like it or hate it, you know, I'm not gonna judge. You know, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I liked the game. There were bits I didn't like too, mainly a bit of Rachel's portrayal, but, you know, overall I still enjoyed the game. It's definitely replayable, at least for me. So that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. This is TotalGamerJunkie, signing off.